Okay, so here's a video for 5 through 8 for help in case you were absent or you like to rewatch the lesson to really internalize it or absorb it. So number 5, it's a continuation of 4. It says a splunker is down in a cave next to the cliff. If she climbs down deeper into the cave, this will be a negative change or a negative number. If she climbs up, whether it's inside the cave or outside the cave and up the cliff, this will be a positive change. So the ground is 0. And then so she's going down negative, she's going in the cave. If she's going up, she's either climbing out of the cave or if she's above the ground positive, she is on a cliff. So keep that in mind. What does negative 75 plus positive 100 equal? So notice that these are different signs. So I'm going to show you with the number line. Okay. So if we think we have like a number line, let's just put 0 here because you guys are used to it. If I have negative 75 plus 100, you can think of this as I go left 75. So negative telling me that I'm going left. And then this is positive. So then I'm going to start where I left off and I'm going to go over 100. Well, this distance is 75. So then to go to 100, I had to also go 25. So I went 100 to the right. So I know that to get back at 0, I went 75 because if I went this way 75, then back 75 would put me at 0. And I have 25 extra. So I end up here at 25. So that's one way to think of it. You can also think of this as you owe $75 and you have 100. So how much do you have left? That's another way to think of it. Another thing we noticed in class is I can move, the order doesn't matter as for addition. So if I wanted to do 100 plus negative 75, I can move the order. I don't have to keep it in the same order. And then remember all of you guys were writing 100 minus 75? And I was telling you to write it as an addition equation. So this expression is the same as this. So if you ever want to rewrite it or move it around to better understand it, you can. All right, so that is your answer for this box. Part A and B, I wanted you to write a sentence. What does this expression tell us about the splunker? So the negative 75 tells me that she is 75, she went down 75 feet into the cave. So negative 75 tells me she climbed down into the cave. So she first climbed down 75 feet deeper into the cave. And then, I'm not going to finish this one. So first she went down 75 feet into the cave and then positive 100. Well, that tells me that she's climbing up. She's climbing up out of the cave. So she's climbing up out of the cave. So you'll finish that sentence. Feel free to rewatch it. For B, it says, what does the value of the answer to the expression tell us? So what does the answer that we got here tell us? The 25 tells us that she is, where is she? It's positive. So it tells me that she's 25 feet. Remember, 0 is the ground. So if she's positive, she's above the ground. So she is how many feet? And she's up on a cliff. Because if she's no longer, the ground is 0 and she's above it, she is now on a cliff. So you're going to write the 25 tells us how far up she is. So she's 25 feet up. All right, so you'll type that in there. Number 6, you had 3 problems. It says, without using a calculator, find each sum. Show your work on the sketch pad below. So 3 problems. You'll check them here, but you'll work them out here. I want you to show me at least a little bit of, even if you do it in your head, you're going to have to simplify these a little bit. So using the sketch pad lets me know that you didn't just put them in a calculator, because you won't always have a calculator. So we have negative 35 plus 30 plus 5. And these are in parentheses. So if you remember PEMDAS, we're going to do these first. So that adds to 35. And something important happens. Negative 35 plus positive 35, those are opposites. And we learned from question 1 that opposites always add to a special amount. If I start at 0 and I go 2 steps and back 2 steps, I'm back at that starting point. So you should be able to answer that one. For question 2, so that was the first one. For question 2, I have 3 numbers. In class, you guys told me, well, let's combine the things that have the same sign. So we have negative, negative, positive. So what we did first was we combined the 2 negatives. So negative 0.15 and negative 0.85. So we combined them together. And the reason we can do that is because if we're looking at a number line and we start with negative 15 and we add negative 8.5, well, I'm going to keep going to the left. So I would just combine them into one long arrow. Since they're going the same direction, I can combine them, which is like adding them. So I can add them, and then I just have to keep the sign because they're going to the left, so they're going to continue to be negative. So 0.85 plus 0.5, remember you line up the decimals when you're adding decimals. So we combine those together. You'll get a number. That number is negative. So 0.85 plus 0.15, you get 1. All right. That's not our answer. Negative 1 is not our answer. There's a third number. So we have 12.5 left and then negative 1. So you can think of this as 2 ways. You can think of this as you have $12.50 and you owe $1. So how much is left? Or you can think of this with number lines. All right, so we have negative 1 and 12.5. So you can think of this as I go back 1, and then I go forward 12.5. So I'm going to take away the piece that crosses over, and so I'm left with 11.5. Or remember, the order doesn't matter. So if I wanted to do 12.5 plus negative 1, remember I can switch the order. So these mean the same thing. If you remember, plus a negative number, you guys kept wanting to write subtraction. So you can rewrite it. Or you can think of this as going to the right 12.5 and then going back 1. Back 1. So now I'm here at 1 less than I was. So you can think of it as any way you'd like. If you like to think of it as money you have and money you owe from the Edpuzzle, you can do that as well. So that's number 2. And then the last one, a lot of you are trying to add them. You have to have a common denominator first. So you need to change this from 1/2. Remember, you multiply them both by 2. And so instead of 1/2, I have 2/4. So this is really 2/4 plus negative 3/4, because I didn't do anything to the second one. All right, and again, these are different signs. So you can think of it however you want, but if I'm going to show you on a number line real quick. Let's say this is 1/4, 2/4, negative 1/4, negative 2/4, 3/4. Okay. So it was 2/4 plus negative 3/4. All right. The first number means I'm going to go from 0 and I'm going to go to the right 2/4. And the second number is negative 3/4. So I'm going to start where I left off, and I'm going to go 1, 2, 3/4 to the right. So 3/4 to the right, 2/4 to the left. And so your answer is going to be where you leave off. Oops, I don't know why that's right there. Oops. Sorry, guys. I don't know why that black line's there. Okay, well, you can also think of this as, let me just draw it real quick. So I move to the right 2/4, and then I move back 3/4. So when I cross the 2/4, that's going to be 0, so I still have negative 1/4 left over. You can also think of it as you have 2 and you owe 3. And so what you owe will be left on top, and then the denominator will stay the same. So if you need to rewatch that, go ahead and pause it and rewatch it. If you want to write a fraction as your answer, because this answer is a fraction, remember to use that slash key that looks like this on your keyboard. All right, so you'll do the last one. Number 7, it says, without a calculator, find the sum. I know this looks crazy, it looks scary, but hopefully you notice a pattern. I noticed a pattern. I don't even need a calculator. I don't even need to write this down. I know the answer. So if you notice, this is positive 54, negative 54. What do opposites add to? Positive 43, negative 43. Positive 32, negative 32. Positive 21, negative 21. Positive 10, negative 10. Each of these have an opposite. So if you know what opposites add to, you can start canceling some of these numbers out. So really think about that. What do opposites add to? If I start at 0 and I take 2 steps forward and 2 steps back, where do I end up at? So you'll type your answer in here. Notice if I put the wrong answer, it says not quite. So you're going to put your answer in here until it says excellent. And then for number 8, I want a sentence. You are 7th graders, so you should be able to give me a sentence at least. What are some strategies you use to make sure you have the correct sum when adding positive and negative integers? So if you have a brain fart, you don't remember, some strategies you can use are the number line, checking on a number line to make sure your answer is correct, using the money you have and the money you owe method is another way to check. If you've already got that pattern down where you can combine the same signs, but you subtract different signs, that's another method. But I really like the number line method if you're trying to check if that makes sense on a number line. So does your answer make sense on a number line? So once you're done with that, don't forget to turn it in and have a great weekend.